Have you ever been stuck in a rut? Like you feel like you're going nowhere in life. The wheels are spinning and you're not going forward.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Stuck.
Were you upset? Angry? Life stagnation is like being stuck in neutral. Now there are a lot of different kinds of stagnation. Some examples like emotional stagnation, where you're having trouble processing some feelings or getting over a trauma. Or physical stagnation, where you can't be motivated to get up and do some exercise. Or career stagnation, where you're stuck in a job with no opportunities for growth or progression, or you're just being blocked. And everybody, pretty much everybody, goes through many of these stagnations in their life. And they're pretty hard to get out of. Very hard to break. So I like to do this exercise where I examine the road I'm on and if I'm in control of where I'm going. And when I'm doing this exercise, if I feel I'm not at peace with myself, then I know I probably have to change something or add something to what I'm doing. And when I'm solving this problem, I like to connect the dots. So I look back and I reconstruct the path. I look at my motivations and goals and dreams and see, where did I step off the path? Where did I, de-road? So tonight I'll try and tell you about some of my dots and see if you can understand how I came to be here tonight. And many of these dots actually came where I've made efforts to try and overcome stagnations in my life. I was born in 1973 on a small farm on the border of southern and northern Ireland. It was only 4 short years after the beginning of the Troubles. British troops arrived in our locality, took over part of our village and some of our neighbours' lands. And it was a time of great resentment and rage and resistance. And with the resistance, our colonial overseer of the time, the Northern Ireland Secretary, christened our locality Bandit Country. We were, via the media, we were named and shamed and vilified, as well as deprived of some of our civil and human rights. Yet through it all, my growing up, my parents always talked to me about freedom and what it means to be free. Free to live, free to learn, free to love. And more importantly, what it is to make use of the opportunities of freedom. And the way they said it to do is to go and educate yourself. Get yourself educated. So at 17 years old, I applied for an undergraduate scholarship to the top engineering companies in Northern Ireland. And I remember my father driving me to the interviews. And we went to places in the north that I'd never been before. And he told me about people and places and events, some good and some bad. And on each and every journey, he would tell me about his own experiences. And layer by layer, he unwrapped where his life stagnated or was being prevented. A forced stagnation. Now, unfortunately, a few months later, he died unexpectedly. And I wept when, as he wasn't alive to see me get accepted to the world's oldest aircraft manufacturing companies in the north of Ireland. I went to the company, I love my engineering studies. And after 4 years, I graduated and I went back to the company. It was brilliant. In my first 12 months, I was given lots of responsibilities. I was told by my boss that I was going places and that I should maybe consider the upcoming management training program. Yet in a tyrannical twist, in the year that followed, my application to the management program was withdrawn by somebody more senior. I was angry. My motivations went through the floor. I dreamed of something else, somewhere else, anywhere else. And so began my first self-analysis of, is everything going all right for me in life? Now, by chance, there was a phone call with a key customer of ours in Berlin, and an opportunity presented itself. And 3 months later, I was driving down the motorway, the Autobahn, on a sunny May morning into the city of Berlin. I was 25 years old, and I was ready for an adventure. Berlin, like my homeland, was a place divided. And from day one, at the weekends, I would try and explore every corner of the city, from Tempelhof Airport to the Reichstag, from Zoo Station up through Brandenburg Gate to the Alexanderplatz. Berlin was a historical labyrinth of conflict and division and healing. But it had a beautiful people, defiant, with a sense of defiance and a beautiful spirit of freedom. Yet just a few weeks later, I was dancing on the street in the love parade. And everybody around me, 1 million people, with not a care in the world. And all colours, creeds, genders, and nationalities of the world. And for the first time in my life, I realised what it meant to be free. What it meant, how it felt, and how it feeds the mind. And with this invigorated sense of liberty, my next stop was the Berliner Wall. And I went particularly to the place where John F. Kennedy had stood on his visit to Berlin in 1963. And I stood and I looked back at the wall and back out over the plaza, and I closed my eyes, and with blood pulsing through my veins, I spoke the words, "All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin." And I'm proud to say, ich bin ein Berliner. It's been, in the 25 years since I was in Berlin, I've worked in many cities in the world. I've seen a lot of things and I've learned a lot of things. And what I've noticed is, in some of the workplaces I've been, these are the places where some of the stagnation is at its worst. Now, I had particularly bad experience, a very toxic place, and I didn't realize it at first, that that's what was happening. You know, like when they say you throw a frog into a pot of boiling water and they'll jump out, but if you put them in cold water and heat them up, they won't even know they're cooking. So it was a little bit like that. And you know, when too many promises get broken and too many benefits disappear, you know it's time to move. You know, but for some reason, I needed a push. And I did my self-analysis and I said, what do I do? Well, I usually go and try and learn something or do a new experience. And I decided I was going to do an MBA. And I basically had a coaching session with my MBA group, And I told them we shared all our experiences about life and work and what our challenges were. And within 10 minutes they said, "You got to leave this company or you'll die." So, and you're going nowhere, so what are you waiting for? And so in the year that followed, I left the company, I got my MBA, and we had a baby. And it wasn't, but I thought I escaped. I thought I got out of the experience, I thought I'd got over it, and I realized much later that I hadn't, that there were scars left. And one of the scars I had most was I'd lost confidence in my ability to speak in front of an audience, to speak in front of a crowd. And it left me like a little bit, not as courageous. So I was very careful with jobs after that, but in the last couple of years, I've joined a great company, truly amazing, truly special, with amazing colleagues, and a project worth doing, and hopefully it lasts. So as I've connected the dots here tonight, what have I learned along the way? I've learned that you've got to educate yourself. You've got to learn for yourself how to do a self-analysis and identify and give yourself really, really honest feedback. And if something's just not right, then I know I've either got to change something or add something to the mix. So last year I did that. And just before Christmas, I joined a club. And it's a public speaking club. And I'm practicing public speaking again. And tonight I'm on the stage in Munich's greatest storytelling club with you, with some of my friends, some of my colleagues here to support me. And sometimes it just boils down to the fact that, as Andy Dufresne said in Shawshank Prison, you got to get busy living or you got to get busy dying. And that's my story.